Hello you guys and welcome back to another video. And today we have Mr. Nightmare's Spring Break horror stories. I don't know the exact title, but you guys seen it when I put it in or when you previously watched Mr. Nightmares. So in just about 15 minutes, so sit back, relax, get your popcorn, all your snacks, and let's get into it.
Spring break 2016. Three friends and I were a little too late to book a worthwhile spring break trip like in Cancun or Miami or something like that, so we did what we thought was the next best thing. We Airbnb'd a beach house in Georgia for a good price last minute. The landlord left the key hidden in a plant on the front stoop. As soon as I unlocked the door and we stepped into the home, we could all agree there was a funky smell in the house.
Ooh.
It wasn't necessarily a bad smell. It was just weird. The house was big though. It had a big first floor and huge second floor with 4 bedrooms. We all had claim to our own room. We got there early in the day, so the sun was still out and strong. The 3 others, who I guess I'll introduce now, Todd, Nate, and Michael, were outside hanging on the beach. I went inside to look for a volleyball because the landlord said there were a bunch of sports equipment in one of the upstairs closets. There was only one closet upstairs though, so I checked it, and inside of it were things like badminton rackets, baseball gloves, frisbees, and a volleyball, exactly where the woman had described. When I shut the closet door, however, I realized the door to my bedroom was open. I had 100% closed it not even 15 minutes before. I went outside to ask my friends which of them went in my room. I didn't make a big deal about it, but I had to ask because I found that to be a little annoying. They all claimed they didn't go in my room, so I moved past it. I wasn't going to let it bother me too much. When the sun went down, we all got dressed to go to nearby clubs, which were supposed to be crowded due to spring break. I split off a bunch of times to get drinks from the bartender that I found cute, thinking somehow I'd have a chance with her. Of course, I was just acting like a drunk idiot. I guess I'd been mixing my drinks a little too much because at some point I started feeling really sick. The house was walking distance from the club I was in, so I decided I'd walk to the house and see the rest of them tomorrow. When I got back to the front door, I put the key in the mailbox as I told my friends I'd do if I left early. I made sure to lock the door behind me, and if any of my friends would come back, I'd assume they'd remember what I said. I went straight to the bathroom upstairs, where I sat by the toilet waiting to puke. My head was spinning, but I just couldn't sum up the urge to finally puke. As I was sitting on the bathroom floor, I heard something outside, like something being dropped on the floor in one of the nearby bedrooms. I stood up and peeked outside. I stepped into the center hallway and noticed that the door to the room that Todd had claimed was cracked open. There was a small nightlight on in there. As I walked closer to the door, I noticed someone sitting on the bed. They were just sitting on the edge of the bed facing a wall. Was it Todd? I honestly couldn't tell at that point. I was only peeking through a tiny crack in the door. It really didn't look like Todd though. And how would he have gotten in before me without the key? In a split second, my heart started racing twice as fast as I was looking at someone who I started to believe wasn't Todd. I started backing away slowly. And of course, there was the slightest crack in the wood floor.
Oh shit.
The person sitting on the bed clicked their head to the left to face the door. And even through that tiny crack, I felt as if he was looking at me.
Oh damn.
It wasn't Todd. It was some random man who looked to be about 40.
Ugh.
I ran to the bathroom and locked the door, not trying to be quiet anymore. I tried calling my friend Todd, and as it was ringing, I saw the doorknob to the bathroom door pressed down slightly.
Oh.
The man on the other end was trying to open the door, but of course I locked it. I heard footsteps walking away until they faded away completely. Todd didn't pick up the phone, so I called the landlord. She didn't pick it up either.
You better call the police,
So I
bitch.
finally called 911.
Good.
I asked them
That's
to
the
send
first
a police officer because there was someone who wasn't supposed to be in the house. A police car came to the house within a few minutes, and I ran to the front door to answer it, asking the officer to look around the house with me. It wasn't a huge house overall. The first floor was a quick search, under the couches, and the closets, and the cabinets. Then we went upstairs, checking all the bedrooms, under the beds, and those closets. It seemed clear. He made me fill out some report form, and he was on his way. I still locked myself in the bathroom until my friends rang the bell. With all of them back, I finally felt safe. And when I told them what happened, they were all in shock. The next day, I called the landlord and told her, and she sounded very distraught after I described the man. She sounded confident that her crazy ex-boyfriend had somehow broken into the house and was expecting to find her there. It turned out the room Todd had claimed used to be the bedroom she and her ex would share. She offered to refund me and let us go home if we didn't feel safe.
Well, that's good.
Surprisingly, we agreed to stay the full week though, and actually nothing happened for the rest of the week. I feel like maybe the man figured that she had moved out. I do wonder how things would have played out if she was home.
Wow.
My friends and I were on spring break in Miami. Late at night after hitting the clubs, we were walking back to the hotel. I guess we left super late because I don't remember seeing any people walking around anywhere besides the three of us. Then, a black car with tinted windows and blasting music came driving down the street. It slowed down when it came closer to us, and when we passed it, it stopped on the side of the road. I told my friends, don't look back, just keep walking. We came to an alleyway that we could cut across to get to our hotel, so we took it. As the three of us were halfway down the alleyway, we literally saw shadows of people behind us on the ground, exposed by an overhead alleyway light. We turned, and there were three guys walking behind us. I whispered at my friends to pick up the pace. We all knew it without saying it, that those guys were most likely the ones in that black car. My two friends were wearing heels, so trying to run wouldn't exactly work.
So I wonder,
One of the guys called out to us to stop. That only made us go even faster. The next thing we knew, one of them was grabbing my shoulder and forcing me to stop. My friend Gina screamed so loud it could probably be heard for a mile. I screamed in a panic too, as I hit the guy with my bag repeatedly. A couple other guys came in response to the commotion from the opposite end of the alleyway and told the three guys to back off.
Okay.
The three seemed to realize the fight wasn't worth it and walked away.
Oh, damn.
I'd never been so happy to be white-knighted in my life.
Oh.
The two guys who saved us tried escorting us back to our hotel, but we were close enough now, and we wanted nothing to do with guys we didn't know at that point. We made it safely back and went home the next morning.
Okay. That was it? Okay.
For spring break, I went somewhere most college students don't go for that oh-so-coveted week of the year. I went snowboarding in Colorado. My friend Kevin has a house there, so I took a flight with him and we took an Uber to his house. It was a lot of uphill driving through the snowy mountains of Colorado that I honestly can't even name. Kevin's family is loaded, so they have houses in multiple states.
Okay.
We pulled up to a huge property. Snow was covering everything, so I couldn't see anything but his house really. We didn't plan on snowboarding that day, as the sun was already going down and we had 2 long days ahead of us anyway. Kevin had to unlock everything in the house. It had been a month since he had come last. Kevin made a couple frozen pizzas that were left in the freezer, and we ate those for dinner. The rest of the night, we just drank and played video games. The house had a beautiful main floor that sat with the ground level outside. Kevin didn't keep any of the blinds shut because he said that the closest neighbor was about half a mile away. It was definitely a pretty private
See, I
property.
can't get with those houses that you
That's
have.
why when we both
That
heard a
one
thump
house,
out the window,
you have
it was
houses
that much more
that's
bone
like,
chilling.
you have another house like 30
Both our
minutes away.
heads jolted to the window like an animal that just heard a predator approaching.
Can't do it.
We paused the game and walked over to the window that thump just came from. Of course, we couldn't see anything outside because it was pitch black and snowing outside. But we did, however, see a distinct handprint on the glass that came from the other side. Needless to say, we were both spooked. Kevin wanted to go out there with a couple batons that his dad kept under his bed upstairs. I told him that's a stupid idea, but he seemed more angry than anything at this point that someone would trespass on his property and invade our privacy like that. so he convinced me to go with him. We threw back on our coats and boots, and into the snow we went. I followed him since he was holding a lantern. Yes, he had a lantern instead of a flashlight. We went to the side of his house. I found myself almost slipping and falling, walking the slight uphill several times. He turned on a light on the side of his house, which lit up the area by the window where we heard the thump. If our suspicion of being watched wasn't already confirmed, then it was when we saw the two-way footsteps in the snow leading to and from the window. We started to follow them. They led into a small patch of woods, and we continued to follow. At this point, I asked Kevin if we should just forget about it. He didn't even answer me, so I knew to shut up. The footsteps left the small patch of woods and entered a clearing. Kevin stopped me and muttered, "What the fuck is that?"
So you guys
From a
are
very near distance,
investigating?
there appeared to be these identical objects spaced out evenly. There were 4 of them. They stood tall like a person. Kevin took a few more steps forward, leaned his upper body in to take a closer look, I guess, then turned to me and said, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
Well,
I
duh, you
hurried
should
back
have
with
been
him
there in the
asking
first
what he thinks
place.
those things were. He said, "I don't know, but they look like human silhouettes strung up on some kind of sticks." The words that came out of his mouth shook me. I never felt more relieved than when we got back to his house. This time he shut every blind in the house and double-checked all the doors.
Dead people?
The next morning, first thing we did was walk back over to that clearing.
Oh,
We
really?
walked around it for about 10 minutes, searching.
And it was
We
gone.
didn't find any bodies or anything like that, but we did find 4 big wooden poles almost identical in size. We had zero explanation for this whole scenario. It was bizarre and it was downright disturbing. We had to debate whether to even go snowboarding that day, and we did, but I can't say I wasn't thinking about what we saw the night before the entire day.
Story 4.
Last year I went to Miami for spring break. A few days before I went, I had a horrible dream. I was playing video games in my basement when I heard a noise come from a closet. I walked over to the closet and opened it. And quite simply, there was a man with a distinct face I remember vividly in my head, just standing in there. It was like my brain playing a jump scare on me in my dream, because I woke up with my heart racing. Well, fast forward our first day on spring break in Miami. We were on South Beach and there were thousands of people. In fact, you could hardly walk. I was with my friends, of course, who were
Wait, I'm
probably
telling you,
having
this
more
nigga
fun than
follows
me
you?
since I'm not the biggest fan of crowds. All I saw around me besides my friends were unfamiliar faces, until I saw this one guy, not dancing, not moving, just standing behind a couple people, but looking at me. I made eye contact with him for maybe 3 seconds before looking away and moving closer to my friends. I told one of my friends that some older man was just staring at me like a creep. When we looked at where he was standing, he was gone. The 5 of us migrated closer to the water and music, where the crowd got even thicker and the people seemed to get drunker.
Okay, your
I
girl
was
or
looking
boy?
around when once again, I saw that man blending in with the crowd, but just looking at me. I looked at him for a few seconds again. I grabbed my friend Trish and pointed at the man and said,
Oh,
"That guy
girl.
keeps looking at me." She said just ignore it. She went back to dancing. I started getting this sickly feeling in my stomach about it, so I ran through the crowd and looked back every few seconds. I knew I'd seen that man's face before, but I couldn't put my finger on where just yet. I made it through the crowd and got back to the hotel room, where I sat on the bed with my hand on my head, gathering my thoughts. Then it hit me. I felt like throwing up when I realized it.
Uh-oh.
It was the man from my dream, the man who was in the closet.
What the?
I texted my friend Trish and waited a few minutes for her to answer. She said she didn't see who I was pointing at earlier. She just thought I should ignore whoever it was.
Are you hallucinating?
I went back out there and didn't see the man again, but I swear this is something that actually happened to me, and I still don't know how to explain it. I got plenty of sleep. I don't think I could have hallucinated seeing that man. But how could I see a man who had literally been in a dream I had a couple nights before? It is easily the scariest and most unreal thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
Freddy Krueger? Huh. Wow. Okay, that was not as scary. It's very creepy and suspenseful. Like the first one with the when they what they do? They rented out the spring home. Creepy man always. When you see red flags, immediately follow your first mind and call the police and make sure you go a full house through. And the crazy husband, like what had the audacity for you to do that? Just move on. The second one wasn't really all that scary. It was just a very bad experience. All I can say is next time for the ladies and men, always just next time pepper spray, taser, anything you can protect yourself with. The third one, I I don't understand like how can somebody just be out in the middle of nowhere and just want to do some crazy stuff like what kind of mind they have what kind of mindset do you have to just be out in the middle of nowhere just waiting for another victim? I don't understand that. And the fourth one, I don't know what she was doing. Maybe a dream was telling her that a guy was gonna creep onto you. I don't know. Maybe she was hallucinating. I don't know. She just needed to get some better rest and she need to do something. I don't know. But from this video, it was just creepy assistance. But that's all I can say. So tell me guys what you think. Subscribe, like, share, all the awesome stuff. And until next time, peace. Have a blessed one.